Thank you all for coming out. It's been a while since I've had a chance to talk to retail investors. I did an extensive trip in the fall through Europe, and this is kicking off the 2020 program, drill programs coming up, that sort of thing. It's been, 3 months anyway since we finished up in this area, the Golden Triangle. Let me just first of all suggest to you who we are, Aben Resources. We've acquired ground 2016, put 3 claim blocks together. They're about 50 kilometers long, running straight up north-south, right up the Kerr Fault. So it goes from about the McClymont power project right up to the Glore Creek Road, and so both ends of the property are road accessible, but for where we are, right in the middle of the property, it's pretty much helicopter accessible. Just a quick capital structure. You can see it yourself, but it's we're in good shape. As far as money in the bank, we've got $1.5 million still left over from last year's drill program. Eric Sprott is now our largest shareholder. Management is about 10%. We've got some funds involved with us. It varies from time to time, but right now it's OTP Bank out of Hungary, and Red Plug helps us out with flow-through side quite often. As you can see, what happens is there's a big build-up because the season up north is short. And so we get in June, mid-June, and we're out of there by October. So the chart builds, the price builds, and at the end of the season, tends to come back down quite often faster than it goes up. And it's just the seasonal nature of the whole thing. Management, we've got Ron Nedolitsky's the chairman. He's got a big background up there. He was involved in the discovery of SNP and SK back in those days. He's very much with us in advisory role. He's just a wealth of knowledge. Myself, Jim Pettit, I'm the CEO and president. I've been in this business for a long time, but mostly on the capital markets side. Tim Termundi started his career with Ron at SNP. Also has a wealth of knowledge up there. Very hands-on with me. And Cornell McDowell's the VPX. Then we have a series of advisors that help out. Henry Omack has a big history up there, and there's a number of others. It's too many to talk about. We rely heavily on a lot of external advice. As far as track record of the management, Ron sort of goes without saying. He's taken things from grassroots to production several times. Generally sells when you get to production. His background, he's probably about six of these projects that have all turned out well for him. Tim and Ron sold Copper Canyon to when the whole Glore Creek thing was coming together about 8 years ago. I sold a company called Bayfield to New Gold in Ontario just in time for the market to collapse when it did, so it was good timing to get out. And I mean, that basically, we've got a good understanding of how the capital markets work, and we are grassroots explorationists. We've got a good track record of that, and our model would be to sell before production. Just quick investment highlights. This area has potential for high-grade gold. We started out the last 2 seasons, 2017 and 18. Started out with some very high-grade results. You can see here that's, very, very spectacularly high grade. And that got us going. That area is called the North Boundary Zone. The second year we went in, we hit even higher grades. The second time around, deeper. Like I'm talking 38 gram plus, over 10 meters, that sort of thing. And then we started stepping out from that. And the grades were still there, but they were depleting. We've got a zone now. It's about 150 meters north-south, 50, 70 meters east-west. That is considered the high-grade zone. We put 35 holes into it. We haven't done a resource or anything like that yet because we're still in the exploration stage. I still consider us to be in the discovery phase, which is the phase that will give you the biggest bump for your investment. And as this season, we actually move south. I'm actually going off a little track here, but I don't have a lot of time, so I kind of want to keep moving forward. The Golden Triangle is just an area most of you have heard of. The difference between then and now is the infrastructure has improved dramatically. The best thing that's happened over the last 15 years is access to contractors. Most of the work that we're doing is coming out of the community. And that speaks to the here and now. And there's new philosophies, there's new methodologies coming out now too, as to what to look for when you're up there. The Holy Grail used to be the mudstones, the contact between the Stutini and the Hazelton. We're there, we're within a fairly tight range of where that horizon shows. At the end of this season, one of the last holes we did, we actually hit it. The last 35 meters of, I think it was hole 63, we've tapped into this formation. Kind of took everybody by surprise. Everybody went, well, what's that? Well, that's why they're called mudstones. They don't look like anything else you've seen, but that's what Eskay Creek was built on. You know, the new look is what I was just talking about. There's new methods of discovery. This is what it looks like. On the left, that picture is the fault. We staked pretty much the whole thing as it was exposed. Off that are just a lot of subfaults, splays that come off at shear zones. The mineralization in the area we're in, called the boundary zone, is about 6 kilometers north-south, 2 kilometers east-west, and it is just full of mineralization. What got us going on it was obviously the high grade we hit in the beginning of those 2 seasons. This last season, 2019, we didn't hit those high grades, and obviously the market took a big correction because they expected that chart to keep going. But what we got out of this, as we move south from the high grade zone, this is just some cross sections of some of the higher grade zones. Here's the north boundary high grade zone. This is the geophysical information we gleaned back in May. The picture on the left gives you the idea. As we move, you can see this cluster of red up top. That's 35 holes drilled into a small area. We decided we wanted to go south and test these geophysical anomalies that we didn't have at our disposal in the past. And as you can see, all the holes are full of, they're mineralized, but they're mineralized from 0.5 gram to 2 gram. But we have 100-meter intersections of 1.5 gram, that sort of thing, which we didn't have in the north boundary zone because we had these tighter, smaller widths of very high grade. So we're building this year, we built a corridor heading south from the north boundary zone about 700 kilometers now, 700 meters, that is mineralized, albeit lower grade than what we all are used to. And it's, from our perspective as an explorationist, this is really good. And it's in that area too that we have tapped into this new horizon that we all look for, at least in the old days. We're trying to maintain a presence in a hydrothermal system, but now as we move south, we're also noticing that things have changed and we get more multi-element. We're getting zinc, lead, copper, silver, gold, and in all those holes. So there's a lot of work ahead of us right now. We're working on a drill plan for next year. We're working on assessing everything that we now know. We've done almost 20,000 meters in the last 4 years. And that's a tremendous amount of data on top of the data that came with these properties. So we've got Cornell arrives tomorrow and we're all sitting down and going over everything that he's done. And it's a tremendous amount of work. So we're not in development. Don't mix that up. We're in exploration. Thanks.